So, what made this quest the GOAT in Warframe? Before the second dream, players thought they were just controlling powerful suits called Warframes. These suits had no voice, no face, no sign of a real person inside. Most people assumed they were just machines. Then came the second dream, and everything changed. At the end of the story, players learned something huge. You weren't the Warframe at all. You were a child, a real person, controlling the Warframe with your mind from a hidden place called the Orbiter. This twist shocked the whole community. No one saw it coming. It turned the game from a cool space shooter into something deeper. Now, there was a face behind the mask. There was a reason for your powers. You weren't just some robot warrior. You were a kid with strange abilities, hidden away and protected by your Warframe. That one moment, when the operator is shown, is still one of the most talked about scenes in the game. It made people stop and think about the story, which many had ignored before. The twist made them care. It gave the game a heart. This reveal wasn't just about story, it also changed how people saw the gameplay. Now that you knew who you were, it changed how you felt when playing. That Warframe you used for hundreds of hours? It was your shield. It was there to protect you, the operator. And for some players, that gave a whole new meaning to the missions and the world. People went back to watch cutscenes and read codex entries. They looked for signs they had missed. This moment pulled the community together. Players shared their theories, thoughts, and reactions online. It felt like being part of something big. The second dream turned Warframe from a cool game into a story people wanted to follow. It made the world feel alive. It was no longer just about killing enemies and farming gear. There was a reason behind it all. There was a person behind the power, and that person was you. The second dream didn't just drop a big story twist. It also added new features that changed how the game worked. One of the biggest things it introduced was the operator. This was the real person behind the Warframe. Before this, players had never seen their true self. Now they could customize the operator's look, voice, and style. This added a new layer of connection to the game. You weren't just some nameless fighter anymore. You had a face, a voice, and a backstory. This made the game feel more personal. Another big change was the introduction of focus. These were special powers the operator could unlock and use in battle. Focus let you pick a school, like Naramon or Zanurik, and grow your powers over time. Each school gave different bonuses and playstyles. Some were good for melee, some boosted energy, and others helped with crowd control. This gave players more ways to build their characters. It added depth to the game without taking away what made it fun. You still had your Warframes, but now you had something more. You had a second layer of power. The operator also became part of missions. You could switch out of your Warframe and walk around as the operator. This was risky, since operators are weaker and take damage faster. But it also opened up new ways to play. Some players liked using the operator to dodge attacks or hit enemies with void powers. Others used it to solve puzzles or get through tight spots. This made missions feel fresh again. Players had to think in new ways. They had to learn when to switch, how to stay safe, and how to use focus wisely. The second dream also brought new weapons, new enemies, and new story missions. One big enemy added was the Stalker in a new form, called the Shadow Stalker. He was more powerful and had better gear. He also had a stronger reason to hate you. After learning who you are, the Stalker saw you as a threat. Fighting him was harder now and more fun. The new story missions were also longer and more detailed. They had voice acting, cutscenes, and big fights. These missions felt like a movie. They weren't just filler content. They told a real story, with emotion and stakes. Players had to think, feel, and fight all in one. This made Warframe stand out. Not many free games offer something like that. The second dream wasn't just a cool surprise. It was a shift in how the game worked. It gave players new tools, new powers, and a new reason to care. It mixed story with gameplay in a way that worked. And because of that, it stayed in people's minds long after they finished it. This story quest came out years ago, but players still talk about it. It left a mark that hasn't faded. One reason is how it made people feel. Before this story, Warframe was fun but not very deep. You ran missions, got loot, and repeated the same tasks. It was cool, but not emotional. The second dream changed that. It made players care. When people saw the operator for the first time, many felt shocked. Some even cried. That kind of reaction doesn't happen often in games, especially free ones. It showed that Warframe could tell real stories, not just action scenes. It proved the game had more to offer than just grinding and upgrades. The story made people feel connected. Suddenly, this world full of space ninjas had meaning. The characters had goals, memories, and pain. People started to look at the Lotus in a new way. She wasn't just a guide anymore. She was a mother figure. She had secrets. She had feelings. The Stalker wasn't just a random boss anymore either. He was a broken man who saw you as a monster. These changes made players think about their place in the game's world. That's rare for an online shooter. Another reason fans still talk about the Second Dream is because it brought the whole community together. When it dropped, people raced to finish it. They wanted to know what the big twist was, but they also tried to avoid spoilers. Players told others to play it blind. They wanted everyone to feel the same surprise they did. Forums and YouTube were full of reactions. People shared their operator looks, their thoughts, and their theories. It was one of the few times everyone was focused on the same thing. It made the game feel alive. That feeling of community stuck around. Even today, new players who reach the Second Dream get support and advice. Veteran players remember their first time playing it and want others to feel that same magic. That's rare in online games, where people often move on fast. This story created a shared memory. It gave players something to talk about, even years later. People still make fan art, write stories, and post memes about it. That kind of lasting love doesn't come from just good gameplay. It comes from feeling something real. The Second Dream delivered that. It made people stop and think. It made them feel like part of something bigger. That's why it still matters. It's not just a mission. It's a moment that brought players closer to the game and to each other. One thing that made the Second Dream special was how it changed how people saw the Warframes. Before this, the Warframes felt like empty suits. They didn't speak, they didn't have faces, they were just tools for battle. You could switch between them like changing outfits. There was no reason to think they were alive or had any deeper meaning. Then the Second Dream revealed the truth. The Warframes were not the heroes. They were puppets, controlled by operators, children with special powers linked to the Void. This hit hard. It changed how players saw every mission they had played. Suddenly, the Warframes were not just weapons. They were shields, built to protect a young child hidden far away. That twist made people care more about their favorite Warframes. It gave them a purpose. You weren't just picking the strongest suit, you were choosing the one that matched your operator's story. That added weight to every fight. When your Warframe fell, it meant the operator was in danger. That raised the stakes. It also gave players a new way to roleplay. Some saw their operator as a brave leader. Others saw them as a scared child forced to fight. Each player could imagine their own story. This made the game feel more personal. It made each Warframe feel like a guardian, not just a tool. Even little things started to feel different. When you used powers, it was no longer just gameplay. It was the operator reaching out through the suit. When your Warframe died in battle and the screen showed the operator gasping in pain, it meant something. That pain was real. It wasn't just a health bar going down. This helped players bond with the game in new ways. They started to care more about the world, the people in it, and their place in the story. Lore fans went back to older quests to see if there were signs they missed. Some looked at the way Warframes were built. Others studied the Grineer and Corpus to guess what they knew about the truth. This opened the door for fan theories and deep dives. Some thought certain Warframes might have a link to the operators. Others asked how the Warframes were made and who made them. The Second Dream didn't answer all the questions, but it gave players a reason to start asking. That's powerful. When a story makes people curious, it grows beyond the game. The Warframes, once silent machines, became part of something larger. They became part of the operator's story, and your story too. Every mission after that felt different. You weren't just a space ninja anymore. You were someone hidden in the dark, trying to stay safe while your Warframe fought for you. That one idea made the whole game feel richer. This questline didn't just tell a great story, it also opened the door for everything that came next. Before this, Warframe had a loose story. There were bits of lore and character backstories, but nothing truly connected. The second dream changed that. It set up a long story arc that would continue for years. Right after it ended, players were full of questions. Who were the sentients? Why did the Lotus lie? What happened to the other children like you? These questions led to the next big updates, like the War Within and the Sacrifice. The War Within picked up right where the second dream left off. It showed the operator facing fear, pain, and doubt. It pushed the story deeper, showing that even a powerful child had limits. It also gave the operator more powers and freedom. Players could now move around in missions as the operator and use new skills. These changes would never have made sense without the second dream. That story gave the operator a reason to exist. The Sacrifice came after and focused on the Warframes themselves. It told the story of Excalibur Umbra, a frame with a mind of its own. That story only worked because players now knew that Warframes weren't alive on their own. They were controlled. But what if one remembered its past? What if it could break free? Those ideas came from the second dream's twist. Without that base, the Sacrifice would not have hit as hard. It also set up the conflict with the sentients. Players learned that these were not just robots. They were smart, angry, and had a plan. The second dream introduced Hunhao, a powerful sentient who wanted to destroy the Tenno. That conflict continued in later updates like the New War and the Duviri Paradox. Each of those stories added more layers, but they all traced back to that moment when the operator was revealed. That twist gave the game a focus. It gave the writers a clear path forward. It made the story about something. Instead of just fighting random enemies, players were now part of a war between humans, machines, and the strange void powers in between. The second dream made all that possible. It built a solid base. It gave the devs room to grow the world, the lore, and the characters. Without it, Warframe would still be fun, but it wouldn't be the same. It turned a good game into one with meaning. Players had something to follow. They had a reason to log in, not just for gear, but for the next chapter in the story. That's hard to do in a live service game. But Warframe pulled it off, starting with the second dream. Even now, the second dream still matters. It's not just some old story that players move past and forget. It's a key part of what makes Warframe special. Every new player reaches a point where they unlock that mission, and when they do, everything changes. Veterans still remember where they were when they saw the twist. Some players take breaks from the game, but when they come back, they often say, the second dream is what pulled them in for good. It's more than a mission. It's the moment Warframe became something deeper. The writing, the voice acting, and the music all came together. When the operator appears and the song This Is What You Are plays, it hits hard. That scene sticks with you. It's quiet, emotional, and powerful. No one expected that from a fast-paced shooter, and that surprise is part of what makes it work. The second dream showed that the game could tell real stories. It raised the bar for everything that followed. Before it, Warframe was a game you played. After it, Warframe became a game you felt. That's rare. Most online games focus on content updates and new gear. Warframe did that too, but it also gave players a reason to care, a reason to stay. Because of the second dream, every Warframe update since has had a deeper story. The Duviri Paradox, the New War, and even little events like Nightwave all connect back to the themes it started. Power, control, identity, and truth, those ideas keep coming back. It made the player character more than just a silent tool. It made them part of the world, a living piece of the story. That's why so many people still talk about it, even years later. For new players, it's the first real taste of Warframe's deeper side. For older ones, it's the reason they fell in love with the game in the first place. Some even say they didn't care about the lore until that moment. And now, they follow every update, every story thread. The second dream also changed how other games are judged. When players talk about story in free games, this mission often comes up. It set a standard. It showed that you don't need a $60 price tag to tell a good story. You just need care, planning, and heart. Digital Extremes took a risk with the second dream. They stepped away from the grind and focused on emotion. That risk paid off. It made players trust them more. It made people see Warframe as more than just a game. And even today, when someone asks, when does Warframe get good? The answer is always the same. Play the second dream. That's the moment everything clicks. That's when the game stops being about loot and starts being about you. And that's why it still matters.
Down. Security eye. Watch out. Wait, the security eye just destroyed a pendula. Try and trick it into taking out the rest. That's it. The eye is taking out the pendula. Keep it up. Last one. It's done. The moon is falling out of the void. Hold on, this will not be a smooth ride. Get to extraction as quickly as possible.
What they need, Margulis, is to be destroyed. They're devils from that hell, not human anymore.
No, Wallace, no more destruction. We could heal them. Maybe they're meant to save us.
How can you defend these devils, Margulis, after what they've done to you?
Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind. They won't hurt anyone. I just need more time.
I cannot protect you. Tomorrow you must relax before the 7.
The moon is back in normal space, but the reservoir is in more danger than ever. Hunhao will send his fighters, and the Stalker is still coming for you. Move now. We saved the moon from a void collapse, but Hunhao can now attack the reservoir directly. He must not reach this sacred place.
Shadow, bleed the reservoir until it is desert dry.
This will stop the voices from taking hold. You will have to dream, my angel.
So shame on you! You Oricans! So perfect on the outside, but you're rotted through and through!
7 hands raised. For your apostasy, the judgment is death. Margulis, why? It's about the other rejects we consigned to Lua a few years ago. They're calling it transference. I know we are desperate, Executor, but these aren't Dax soldiers. These are golems possessed by devil minds.
Dream. Not of what you are, but of what you want to be.
You hesitate, Shadow, but remember your despair. This is your only chance to make it end. Your hatred is too weak, Shadow. Mine is strong. My fragments will finish this.
Tenno. Operator. You're awake now, but you're more vulnerable than ever. Get back to your ship, now. You need to focus your mind to unleash your true power. I don't know how much time you have. Descend into the heart of your orbiter. There you will find the somatic link. Stalker! How? Get past him. Get to the link.
Shadow, only the Tenno's death will end your despair. Shadow, this cannot be.
Focus your energy. Get past the Stalker. Focus, Tenno. Use your energy to breathe life into the somatic link.
I am your reckoning.
Again, it needs more power.
Shadow, your path is clear.
Focus your energy. Get past the Stalker.
You shall not leave this place.
One more time.
The sky will be as it was meant, Shadow. The old war finally ends. No self, no sense, no death. Just a metal puppet dangling on Tenno strings. Only the Tenno's death will end your despair. All your dread-long life, you've waited for this moment. But you're asking yourself, was I one of these wretched things? You know the answer. You still hate them. You still hate yourself. What is this? Shadow.
Now we fight on two fronts, my child. The war without. My child, so beautiful to behold. How do you feel?
I'm confused. I thought I was...
I know. Forgive me. This is who you really are, a Tenno. More than human, but once a child like any other. What do you remember?
The soft lines of a hand. My mother's, I think. We were watching the stars, awaiting the jump to Tau. She was afraid.
Memories. From your time aboard the Zeramin 10-0, before the void jump accident. It was years before the ship was recovered. It was drifting dead in space. All her crew gone, except the children.
We were dangerous. Broken. Every time they tried to fix us, someone always got hurt. I wish I could have saved them. I wish I could have taken their fear away.
You were so brave, but the Orokin were afraid of you. The void had changed you, and you couldn't control it. No one could. They were about to destroy the orphans of 10-0, but Margulis, she loved you. She found a way.
She confronted them even when she knew what it would cost her. Blinded and sick by her work with us. Yet in her heart, stronger than all of us.
The Orokin murdered Margulis, used her work to create transference. Your mind projected into a surrogate strong enough to withstand your power. It felt like waking up, but it was just a lucid second dream.
Maybe we felt it. Maybe it didn't matter. We had a life. We embraced it. I wanted to punish those who abused their power, and now I had a way.
And so you became Tenno, serving the Orokin, but bound by honor. As the Tenno grew, they founded great schools, the Tenno ways. Do you see yours?
I see a crystal refracting the moonlight. The way of Xenorik. We believed the path to victory was to dominate the enemy. That strength of spirit could overcome any resistance.
Xenorik will be your focus. But we have so much more to do. Here in the Orbiter, transference will be even stronger. Command the Warframes. Make whole this shattered world you've been given. Are you ready, Tenno?
Yes, Lotus. I am.